just let me know when I should play it.
Do you want to do a sound check, Ife? You want to try the?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing. I can't share my screen. Or can I send you the link? It's a YouTube link.
You hold on for a minute. Let me just do some editing. Oh, Ife, you want to send me the link?
Yep. I'll put in the chat here.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you all hear?
Mm.
No.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, can you all hear the video? Not yet, right?
No.
Okay. Right.
Hey, Liling, sorry, it started recording already.
Okay, I hold on. Okay.
Something to share? Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna play our Unity Anthem video just to start this the session.
All right. Thank you.
In Unity, you can do anything.
In Unity, I can choose who I want to be.
With Unity, I can have a small size team, but deliver on AAA quality.
It's pretty groundbreaking. Let's just put it that way. Whether or not that's film or games, construction or automotive, this creative medium is available to everyone.
So what's the real-time engine? In factual terms, it is a piece of software, but it's so much more than that.
Unity's real-time 3D is an environment built to build video games, but these other industries are getting on board.
What Unity provides is a way that people from different disciplines communicate. Designers and artists and coders collaborate on the design together.
Unity is the bridge. That's how I see it.
In game development, it solves a lot of problems so you don't have to.
It's not just an editor engine company. It's giving the developers the tools to get our games in front of as many people around the globe as possible and make something that's really, really successful.
What is unique about Unity is we want to help developers build long-term relationship with players and generate revenue. Our vision is building successful businesses for our creators.
Whether you're one person and an indie developer,
Or you're part of a large team where you have 100 different peers working on one Unity game, you're all being powered by the same technology.
giving you this extra boost, this extra leg up to make our lives easier, but also to make the game better.
Sorry, I see on the Q chat here. Can anyone see the video, or is it just blank on the video?
I can see it.
Oh, you can see it?
I can see it.
All right, okay, just in case, sorry.
Unity is drastically changing the automotive industry. Using Unity as a glue, we can cover the whole life cycle of production processes.
Design, ergonomics, safety.
Machine learning training. Hey, can we actually test how rain will look and the wipers performance? Add the moose in front of the car and see how it will react. And everything was super fast because we were running Unity from the back seats.
In the construction field, we use Unity for everything and then some.
With augmented reality, we can overlay the entire building in front of the developer. We can feel that space with this dynamic environment that we can walk through. Select your wood grain, oak versus cherry, add lighting.
Our team can update the site, the project, the model instantaneously.
We can change how buildings are built.
We built all the tools of cinematography, staging and blocking and lighting and performance, and we built them into virtual reality. There's nothing that could get in the way of the filmmaker's desire to just work in real time, to work from instinct.
Interactive animation has to be immediate for you to truly believe it's real. And that's why we've used Unity for that.
This is the moment.
This is the future of animation.
Architecture.
The automotive industry.
Game development.
The next great filmmaker is a child who has these tools in their hands.
Even if you're one person, if you've got a great idea, you now have the technology to realize that.
Creators are the pace setters, the dreamers, those with an imagination, and we are here to support them because we think the world's a fundamentally better place with more creators in it.
So hopefully that video gives you an idea of what Unity is and what we're trying to do, who is using Unity, and what we're striving to achieve.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Ife. Yeah, that's actually quite a journey. I remember using Unity maybe 5-8 years ago when I was teaching games development here in SP, and really it went from we were making games from just a PC, then we were making games from mobile games, mobile phones, and over the years I've seen it moving on to making applications for immersive simulations, and we actually have a specialist diploma on that, and we use Unity primarily for that specialist diploma as well, and even in our full-time diploma we use that as well, and it's the flexibility of the tool, the breadth and the depth it allows people to go to. It's amazing. So I think a lot of the audience today here probably have used Unity in one way or another as well. And we've got audience from schools, from industry as well. Okay, so I'd like to open up the floor for everybody. Once again, to put in your questions in the Q&A if you have. Whether it's about the platform, I think both Ife and Iren are more than capable to take in your questions. But primarily, it's about the company itself, right? About working in Unity itself. I think maybe I can start the ball rolling. And one of the interesting things about virtual meetings like this or webinars is this morning I had 2-3 meetings all in one go, and one of the first things we ask each other when we see is like, oh, are you in the office? Are you in the office or are you at home? So Iren and Ife, are you guys working from home or are you working in office? And if it's office, how is it like there now?
Well, I can answer that, but maybe I'll also introduce myself. I'm Ife, the lead solutions engineer for South APAC. So this covers Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and India. And our primary function is to assist BDs and marketing in addressing or answering technical queries. So we worked on presentations, demos, and webinars. So yeah, since the lockdown, our office has been closed and we can't go back to the office. So I haven't been into the office for I think more than a month or maybe 2 now. So we've been working from home since, and even when we were at the what do you call it, phase 2 heightened alert or whatever, right? Where you can go back to the office, it was also at limited capacity. So we limit the number of people that can go back to the office, So yeah, it's definitely I definitely miss the office because we have snacks in the pantry. You can always go to the pantry to get like ice cream, Haagen-Dazs, or make yourself a coffee or some drinks, free flow of Coca-Cola. So yeah, I definitely miss the office. But yeah, hopefully we can return to the office soon.
Maybe
Nice.
on my end, I'd just give a bit of context as well. So Ife is on the technical side. I'm more of a non-technical guy. I'm from business development. Yeah, basically I handle the sales functions as well as new business for Unity, specifically for gaming and education. So actually a large part of my work, we don't really need to be in the office. Some of it okay, back when pre-COVID, of course, we would be traveling a fair bit to visit clients, to attend meetings at their premises. So yeah, even though we have a desk, chances are we don't really spend much time there either. Yeah, but now with the whole lockdown situation, yeah, it's been transitioned to working from home primarily. So a lot of virtual meetings, yeah, rather than in-person meetings. Yeah, but I think similar to Ife, yeah, the snacks and drinks are a big loss, I guess. So when I first joined, I think I gained 5 kg. Yeah, so I think another colleague gained, I think 7 or more. Yeah, so we are well fed. But yeah, being at home also has its perks. No need to travel anymore. Yeah, you can roll out of bed and go straight to work. But I mean, that's more of a work from home problem than anything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Actually, there's been a study that says for every year that you work, right, you put on 1 kg. Yeah, so I guess we all know why that happens. For me, I think back then, pre-COVID, I put on a lot of weight, and I tell my colleagues is school makes me fat because the food is so good. Yeah. Okay, so Iren, you are in business development. Ife, you are in more of a tech role. What is the culture like in these two in the two different roles? Are they different, or is it like one big family in Unity that you all get very bonded together as one team?
Maybe I'll go first. So while I'm in in a more tech role, Yiren and I are still under the same team, same department. We are all under the sales team. So our primary function is still to support the BDs in answering technical queries or creating demos. So we work very closely together. So we have different functions, but we are working very closely together. In terms of how different it is, well, for the few engineers, we focus mainly on the technical aspects, right? So customer may have questions on how Unity can solve some of their challenges and business needs, and then we would address those questions with maybe a demonstration, technical demonstration, or maybe a presentation to show them the use cases that is relevant to them. We will prepare a technical demonstration to show them how Unity works, because outside of gaming, we are still pretty new, and a lot of industrials, they are not familiar with what Unity is and what Unity can do, and what are the values that we add to them. So in that sense, there's still a lot of education required to really expose them to what Unity is and what we can help them with.
Yep. So to add on a little bit, so Unity has grown up from strength to strength. So in the past, yeah, while we focus primarily on gaming, yeah, we've made a number of acquisitions and developed capabilities over the years. So for example, when we first started out, it was just a game engine, right? So even within a game engine, there are different teams. So for example, solution engineers, like if you mentioned, they are Unity developers essentially, who work very closely, sales and marketing to do demos, products, etc. But on the other hand, of course, we have R&D, which focuses on, they are more software engineers, if you think about it. They handle the source code of the engine itself. I know one of the guys in Paris has, I think, 2 PhDs, for example. So they do complex calculations for, how to make your lights look good, how to make your physics realistic in the game engine itself. And as such, normally speaking, they aren't really exposed to, the external side of the business. And of course, as part of all companies, we have legal, HR, finance, and a fairly large division within the Unity organization. It's actually the operate side, which focuses more on how to keep games running, games and other applications, I would say. The reason why I start with games is because we first started out with monetization. The ads team, we basically acquired an ads network back in the day to help game developers monetize and ensure that their games remain profitable. So to some extent, yeah, we do work closely with these various departments across the organization. But I would say there are teams that we work particularly closely with. So for example, in my case, I work very closely with marketing, as well as Ife's team, the solution engineers, and from time to time, legal, of course. Yeah, but of course, as and when there's a need, we do come in contact and we do work pretty closely with the other teams as well, especially when you have customer questions regarding the engine. Yeah, sometimes we may go to R&D as well. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, both Aoife and Iran. So it sounds like there's a lot of interfacing with customers for both your teams and or talking to prospective customers. How big is the team on your side? And are you guys looking to expand to build on that team?
So maybe I can share on that. Yeah. So for Singapore, at least we are the regional headquarters for the Asian region. It's just that the Southeast Asia team is housed within the Singapore office. We do have remote employees in India, Australia, New Zealand, as well as some countries in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, Malaysia, etc. And to that end, of course, we are always looking for talent. If you take a look at the careers page, actually, we have a number of roles open. I can't remember if there's any for R&D at this point, but if I remember correctly, there are a number of sales positions opening. Yeah, simply because the company is growing, and in order to interface well, with the different industries, right? It takes more minds, I guess, to become experts in the specific field, because something specific for gaming might not be the same for a company engineering, for example. And being able to master these products, these features, etc. Yeah, it will make more sense basically for us to get specialized people in charge of these areas. So yeah, always growing, definitely. And of course, bear in mind the whole COVID situation, we do also know of remote positions opening up, right? So maybe it's maybe a program manager position that may originally be housed in the States, for example. If you can work in a different time zone, if the team is open to that, that's possible as well. So yeah, remote work has opened quite a few opportunities, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities in different areas, and with the way that how connected we are as a world with internet, especially now with the COVID situation, I think it kind of breaks down that barriers even more, that people can work remotely, and if you are, say, in another country, you can still be part of the same team. So for people who are fresh school leavers, all right, whether they are from university or polytechnics, if they're looking to join or to step into any of these roles, what are the skill sets they should have, and what would you recommend that they start to build up if they don't have it yet?
I think it depends on the role that the candidate is applying for. So say, for example, if the candidate is interested in a field engineer position, for example, what I would look for is, of course, this person has to be very familiar with Unity. C# scripting is also a must. And it will be a plus as well if the candidate has the kind of soft skill that's able to interface with customer. So field engineer is a very unique position in that this person is basically an engineer, is a very technical person, and most technical person, they tend to prefer to stay behind the screen on a laptop working on their work and don't talk to anyone. But for a field engineer position, you have to talk to customers, you have to interface with people, to the public, right? You have to be good at public speaking. So it's kind of like a very unique position, and it's hard to find good candidates in that sense. So yeah, it really depends on the kind of role that you're applying, and each different roles, we're looking at different qualities.
Yep. Well, on to Aoife's point now. Yeah, because I think he spoke from the technical angle. I can speak for at least the sales side. So predominantly, I would say, yeah, it's pretty much just like any SAS sales job out there. It's just that the industry we deal with is can be pretty niche, especially for gaming. And the technology that we are working with is also pretty nascent and pretty new in that sense. So more than anything, I guess, for sales at least, will be more about, I guess, I feel it's a bit cliche to say this, but it's more about like the attitude where you can, of course, stack up yeah, I guess if you're talking about quantifiable skills, it'll be things like, your network, past accomplishments in terms of results. Yeah, but I would say more importantly would be demonstrating the ability to learn, which if you think about it, it's really critical, right? We don't expect anyone to be an expert the day they step into Unity. There is a fairly lengthy onboarding process, especially considering how many product systems that we use currently today. Yeah, we don't expect anyone to be an expert, but at the same time, we do have pretty high standards in that we want to ensure that everyone who joins is successful and wants to be successful with the company. Yeah, so as long as there's a good culture fit, there's a good skill set fit, yeah, feel free to drop us the application. Our HR team will be happy to qualify. Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron, for sharing. So people who are interested can just go to the Unity website, right? On the careers, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's the page that they should browse.
Okay, yeah. So speaking of the I think Ife, you touched on a little bit of somebody who's very technical, but who's also able to connect with the audience. And Aaron also said about culture and all that, right? I think that kind of the audience might be thinking, so how about your own journeys? What did you guys do before you joined Unity? Were you guys, like for example, for Ife, were you in a more software developer, software engineer kind of role before you joined Unity?
So for myself, my entire career has been in game development. So I started out as I studied computer engineering, and I've always looked at my end goal to be a game developer. But at the time, there wasn't a lot of game development studios around, and it was very scarce. So the first company that I joined was actually a casino machine making company. So they call it gaming, right? But it's gaming in the sense that it's gambling. And then I had the opportunity to join Lucasfilm as the pioneering team there. And that also led me towards the technical artist route, which eventually I came back to game programming because it's more aligned to what I studied. And when I was presented with the opportunity to work with Unity, it's definitely something different from what I'm used to. It's not programming anymore. It's not just like technical art anymore. But now you have to interface with the customer, right? And it's not something that I'm very comfortable with. It's definitely outside of my comfort area. But at the time, I told myself, if I were to grow, I can't stay in my comfort zone. So I need to venture out. And that's why I took the risk of taking on this role. It's definitely something different. And to be honest, on my first public speaking, when I did a talk at Unite Melbourne on my first year that I joined, I was so nervous that I memorized the entire presentation and then I just regurgitated the entire presentation. So it was very robotic, very very stiff. But along the way, with more practice, you get to learn how to be more more vocal, how to be more how to be better at your presentation. So it's definitely something that if you think that you're a programmer, that you're not good at talking to someone, I think it's a skill that you can pick up along the way with more practice. So it's not something that comes naturally for me as well. So it's something that I picked on along the way. So but I'm glad that I took on the role because it's definitely something different from what I've been doing, and I can see that now I have like a wider scope of skill set, and I can interface with customer better. So it's not just about staying behind the screen and just programming anymore.
Yep, my journey is a little bit different, I guess, because Ife is obviously technical through and through all the way. But my background is a bit different. I did psychology at NUS. During which, yeah, I joined the insurance industry for a short stint to buy my own insurance, which is where, you know, I first got in touch with the wholesale side. Yeah, so I guess it was fun. It's just that the product didn't really agree with me. So, you know, I didn't think it was a long-term career choice. After I graduated, I worked at a bank for a while doing operations. It was, yeah, unfortunately, pretty boring work. Yeah, but shortly after, basically, the department announced that they were closing down. So they offered me either to change to become join IT support or to join the broker team. Yeah, so neither of which particular appealed to me. So I was on LinkedIn a while after that, looking for a job. And at that point, basically, Unity was transitioning from perpetual licensing to software as a service. So, you know, the subscription model. So yeah, they were hiring a contract role to assist with that transition. So yeah, I just took a shot and applied. So funny story is that I misread the email. I think the interviewer originally intended it to be a phone interview, but I turned up at the Unity offices. Yeah, then she was very surprised. She was like, why? Yeah, because actually the Unity offices, if you think about it, at that point it was a harborfront. It's not a hosting place. It's yeah, you can think of it, you know, just cubicles basically, because yeah, we don't really expect to host visitors nor interviews there at that point. Yeah, so they were kind of caught unprepared. Yeah, but happy to say eventually managed to get the job and throughout the 4 years, shuffled through different positions. So first, I guess, like I mentioned, it was more of if you think about it, similar to telesales, right, where reaching out to existing customer base, checking out how things are going and bringing them over to subscription. But because the team size for sales still is relatively small, I think we have 3-4 people handling games, for example, for the whole South Effect market. We do have to, I guess, do quite a fair bit of things outside of, you know, your normal sales roles, right, where, you know, you speak to new clients, you know, you manage existing accounts, you close deals. But in addition to that, you know, we have to support, I guess, you know, marketing efforts. We run workshops, seminars, webinars. Yeah, and honestly speaking, yeah, public speaking isn't easy. Having the comfort to do it from home, actually, I think it's a lot easier than standing on a stage. You know, hundreds of people below you, but nerve-wracking in its own way. Yeah, but I guess over time, you know, you gradually, like if you mentioned, gradually pick up the proficiency. Practice makes perfect, and you know, if you don't have the confidence, just fake it till you make it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, those are both very interesting journeys. Iran, I think it's you must have impressed the people at Unity with your passion when you turned up. They said, "Oh, it's a phone interview." No, you just came up there. And they must have been, "Wow, this guy's super passionate." Yeah. I think what you're both one of the common threads I picked up there is public speaking. I think not easy, and I think one of the things that a lot of fresh graduates or students face is they tend to shy away. And especially for the more technical guys, they might even say that, oh, I mean, the reason why I joined computing or software engineering is so that I don't need to talk to people. But I understand how it is, Ife, when you said first time it's like you were speaking like very stiff, like a robot. But I think I attended one of the Unity Singapore ones, and I think even back then, a few years ago, you were already very smooth. It's like you are like a very seasoned professor talking there. People would have thought that you were a professor in Unity.
Thanks, Alvin. I think that's like dozens of presentation later. So
yeah. So I think, yeah, something for our students, our fresh graduates to look up to and pick up. Yeah, I think lifelong learning, right?
Something you mentioned about like software engineers, they're going into this role because they don't want to interact with people. So picking up a soft skill like public speaking is not just beneficial, but also when you're a software engineer, you need to also interface with other people, maybe in your team, or if you want to talk to your manager, right? You need that kind of soft skill. It's not enough that you're good at your job, but you need to be able to communicate well with your team and to stakeholders. So there's definitely benefit. It's not just about talking to public, but the kind of soft skill that you pick up on how to communicate effectively with your teammate or manager.
Yeah, agree. I think that's so true. A lot of the parents for youngsters, they think, oh, what is my son or my daughter is very soft spoken. They don't like to talk to people, which is the diploma they can talk least. Then they go, oh, programming. In fact, that's like Ife mentioned, I think that's the furthest from the truth, because if you want to build software, it's built for people to use. So the only way to understand how to build software for people to use is to talk to people. And when you're working in a team, you need to talk to more people as well. And unless you're a one-person startup, but even then, you need to talk to the people who build a software, i.e. Unity, or people who are going to use your software.
Yeah, I think even more so if you're a one-person startup, because then you need to look for funding, you need to talk to investors, right? You need to talk to, market your products, or even more so.
Yeah, correct.
Actually, if you think about it, maybe the only one-person job is if you're a day trader, I guess. Just trade at home quietly. Sorry, I just muted myself. You just look on your Tiger Brokers or your Moomoo or whatever. And yeah, maybe you can hide away from people. But if you think about it, every job is a people job lah. You can't run away from it. So
yeah. But even the day traders, I have friends who are day traders. Maybe they get cooped up all day. So when I start to talk to them, they have a lot to say. Okay, so Ira, you mentioned at the time when you joined Unity, it was in Harbourfront, right? Where's Unity's office now? With the COVID situation, have you guys moved? Have you guys changed your office space?
Oh, we actually shifted a few years back to Gold Tower. But I can't remember how many years already. 2020 was like the year that didn't happen. To think about it, I think maybe 4 years, 4 years around there about. At that point, funny thing is that I know our office manager was worrying a lot about having to figure out how to seat new people in the office, because the current office space is was pretty packed already lah. We had provision for about 60 people, which is incidentally the 60 people were currently working at the Unity office, ranging from the 2D development team to the ads team, sales and marketing, finance, HR, etc. But yeah, the company is growing, and the manager was worried, how are we going to fit these extra headcount into the room? And then bam, COVID happened in 2020. So everybody was forced to work from home. So I think much like some of the other companies out there, honestly speaking, I haven't seen some of my colleagues in months already. So even with the reduced headcount in office, thankfully, okay, actually not really, not thankfully, we don't have that headcount problem anymore. Because not many people are working from office anymore. But I would rather if we can solve COVID so we can get back to our old lives. But one can hope.
I think it'll take a little bit getting used to go back to the office life. So when COVID happens, it was about getting used to work from home. And I think when we go back to normal, it's about getting used to work from office.
Yeah, indeed. I think both has pros and cons. I think I can't remember, was it before the start of the session? I was saying I was in a meetings 3-4 meetings in a go for this morning, and I don't think that would have been possible if we were in office, because you could only meet in office. You have this many people, and then if you're moving slightly across to another department, for us in the campus, moving across to another school or another department, it takes time to walk there. In a way, it builds in that buffer time or for your mind to shut down and context switch. But with COVID situation, right, it's a lot of it is you go from one meeting to another meeting, back to back to back to back. Yeah, so it's, I guess, there's pros and cons. And like Ira mentioned, it kind of solves that space issue, right? When you get when you're working remotely, but it takes away that face-to-face kind of interaction that you have, and of course the drinks and the snacks and everything.
Yeah, like, it kind of sucks because the Unity office is pretty small and it's pretty tight lah. Like I think some of my friends, the larger US MNCs like HP, Microsoft, etc. of the world, like they can go into work, from what I hear lah, they can go into work a few months later and then, that guy works at HP, but I haven't seen him before because the organization is just so big. But for Unity, it's like 16 people top, like everybody's names. Yeah, pretty much they are friends lah. Maybe some as close as family, right? And yeah, it's quite a big change, right? To seeing these people almost every day, right? For a large part of your life, and then it's like bam, it's taken away, and all you have left are virtual conversation. It helps, but it's not the same. Pros and cons, like you have mentioned.
Yeah. So it becomes a very deliberate effort if you want to talk to somebody, as opposed to you bump into somebody and you talk with them on the way to getting coffee or tea or going to the washroom, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We're still waiting for questions from the audience. So folks, if you have any questions, please post in the Q&A. In the meantime, Ife and Iran, if you've got any fun stuff at Unity that's happened despite the 1 year plus already, right? Have you guys had any gatherings, or virtual gatherings, or virtual get-togethers at Unity? Anything fun happening there?
Maybe I can share a little bit. So at Unity, we have this special team called the We team. We, as in WE, stands for Workplace Experience. So they are responsible for ensuring that you're happy working in the office and all your welfare are taken care of. So they would do things like plan events like Family Day, for example, or they would ensure that like if you have any requests for pantry snacks, they will acquire them. So that was pre-COVID when everything was happening in the office. So post-COVID, the We team is still working very hard to ensure that everyone is comfortable working from home. And I think, for example, they planned this virtual concert thingy that is happening, I think this week, right, Iran? So there'll be like virtual concert, and then there's this virtual magic show. So yeah, they're trying to keep like working from home tolerable experience and still trying to make things fun for everyone. They would from time to time send out gifts, for example, like I think the last one was a packet of different items. Like there was a packet of nuts, right? Tea bags and things like that, just to help with the work from home experience. They would mail it to you, like some items. There was this we have this Pride Day every year, and they mailed out this little pin thing with the Unity logo on it, and then I thought that was a very nice touch.
So the magic shows, is it by people from outside or perform my stuff?
Yeah, I think it's external. Yeah, it's a vendor things that they're working with. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I guess aside from that, back in the old days, we have a pretty furnished office, which is I think one of the good things. So being a tech company, we used to be able to host visitors, clients in house. I think one of the more interesting things that we have a VR room. So back when I guess the Vive was like the best headset in the market lah. We did have 2 PCs set up in one of the rooms in order to showcase Unity experiences, and of course having VR devices in the office also means that it often devolves into there are some fun VR games on Steam, can try to download and try it around. So that was something pretty interesting because that for myself at least at that point where VR headsets like a couple hundred for just the headset unit, you still need to spend money to buy the lighthouse sensors if you're using a Vive, and if you're using a Rift, they just give you one and you have to buy another so that you have a better tracking and all like that. And that's just the headset, right? You have to spend another few $1,000s on you know, a PC with a proper graphics card so that you can run the VR experience. And even then, you'll probably get a pretty janky VR experience out of it. And yeah, it'll be a few $1,000 out of wallet lah. So on our end, you know, having that sort of headset, that sort of resources, yeah, it did give, you know, at least for myself lah, you know, pretty interesting insight into at least VR lah, which is something which would normally be inaccessible. I would be like, yeah, it's a little bit too much of a want than a need, so I wouldn't be able to get one. But you know, having it in office, yeah, gives us a chance to try it. But of course now technology has progressed way past that, right? Like if you think about it, the Oculus Quest is about a few hundred USD. Yeah, you can easily buy one, put one at home. Yeah, you can have VR from the comfort of your house. And now, if you want a graphics card, probably you can't even buy one thanks to the crypto miners out there. So, yeah.
Okay.
And this is the pin that I was talking about. I don't know if you can see.
Wow.
It's very colorful.
Yeah, I can see the rainbow colors on it. Nice, nice. Oh, we've got a question from one of the attendees, and I think it's kind of relates to what Aaron mentioned. The question is actually asking, do they need a good GPU, CPU to work in Unity as a software engineer? I guess the company provides for that. Maybe one of the students here wants to convince the parents to buy a good computer.
Yeah, if you work as a Unity software engineer, we provide the hardware, so we will furnish you with a either a laptop or a workstation with the necessary hardware specs that you need to do your job. So no worries. But if you're talking about like buying it for yourself, then yeah, depends on the kind of things that you want to do. If you're creating something that has a very high requirement on graphics, like something like VR, for example, then yes, you will need a good GPU.
Yeah. So Aaron also mentioned just now, you guys had a VR room where you had all the headsets and everything. And I guess when you showcase it to prospective customers, it's definitely useful. With the current situation, if like you want to start a conversation about immersive applications, VR applications, how do you go about that now? Now that you know, with this limitation, do you all still make appointments to go down to the client's office, or how is it conducted actually?
So generally speaking, I think like you mentioned, it is especially maybe it's something that's a bit more common for the industry, I would say. Because for the gaming space, I would say VR is pretty niche. But yeah, I think chances are if for games at least in Singapore, the Singaporean context, a lot of them tend to be 2D, 3D mobile titles. But for experiences that require more complex, more high-powered hardware, like maybe in the VR or maybe in the AR, where you need maybe HoloLens or Magic Leap, that sort of hardware. It's a little, yeah, I think like I mentioned, it's a little more difficult to get the message across. In that, in the past, it would be easier, right? But we can just show you, like we have a set of the HoloLens in the office, demo loaded up. You can actually really see what sort of experience there are. Let's say even if you work with a existing, maybe to create a small POC to share, what it would look like for, let's say, maybe a room configurator, for example, on the HoloLens. We can just show it on the HoloLens device itself, but having the whole pandemic situation has made things a little bit more difficult. We have to be a bit more creative, I guess, in terms of how we showcase content. One way, of course, would be via screen recording. So, for example, I think we had a proof of concept for one of the healthcare organizations where they wanted to create something for designers of operating theaters, basically architects and engineers in the construction industry. But if you think about it, they want to create a VR configurator, but how do you do that in the pandemic landscape? So we basically had the engineer run through the application, but with recording on, so they saw it from a very first person view in terms of how do you manipulate it, what the UI UX looks like. And in a way, I guess it's a testimony of what they would have seen if they were able to put on the headset themselves. Of course, still not as ideal, but I mean, actually, sometimes people don't want to put on a headset anyway because scared of motor sickness and all that. So I mean, it's a close enough approximation, I would say, but yeah, it's not the same putting on the actual device.
Here, and your audio is a little bit soft and also cutting in on and off. So maybe, I don't know.
Oops, sorry about that. Maybe it's the fan in the background. Yeah, I think it was canceling the noise from me. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know what you heard, but basically, yeah, we use video content so we record from like a first person view for VR, for example. Yeah, to approximate the sort of experience you will have if you are wearing the headset yourself. But for more complex experiences, yeah, if you think about it, yeah, there's no real way to simulate actual VR headset. Yeah, we can just approximate, I guess, which is a shame really, because I think the hardware and the technology has advanced fairly significantly. In the past, like for example, the Oculus was notorious for having tracking issues when you turn around, because like the sensors won't be able to track the visor anymore, and then you have to track that little triangle which was on the headset on the back of the head. But now with the Quest, we have inside out tracking. Yeah, it's pretty seamless, and yeah, it's a pity that we can't showcase like these technologies to its fullest. Yeah.
Even earlier you mentioned just now you mentioned that some folks actually don't like to try out using the headset. Any reason why they mentioned they turn it down? Is it because of they get groggy, or it's really even pre-COVID they are like, oh, hygiene issues, they are reluctant to try it
This
on?
is a half joke, but actually more common than we thought. One main reason is that people don't want to mess up their hair. So for example, in in those conferences where high-powered business people come in, they spend a lot of money to do up their hair, both men and women alike. Then you wear a headset with the straps that press down on the center of your head, and yeah, it ruins your perfect hairdo. Yeah, that's a surprisingly common reason that people don't want to put on the headset. But if you're talking about practical reasons, I would say a large part of it may be because of legacy issues. So in the past, I mentioned for headsets you need pretty solid hardware. You need a good GPU. The headsets themselves also weren't that great. Like the resolution wasn't too good. Sometimes there may be latency when it comes to tracking. So when there's a mismatch between what your body feels and what your eyes see, like let's say you shift your head to the left, there's a 0.1 millisecond lag, for example, between what your body feels and the screen moving. Then there will be a bit of disorientation, and yeah, you get dizzy and motion sick after a while. Especially if you're playing games where I don't know if you've seen Sirento, for example, where there's a lot of movement, you're jumping and teleporting around the scene, things like that, and yeah, that can very easily cause nausea for people. But to some extent, a lot of that has been ameliorated today already. Like I mentioned, as the hardware becomes better, the refresh rates are quicker, and the software as well becomes more optimized so that you can run these experiences. Of course, you can also resolve some of the issues via UI UX design. So for example, locomotion is a common challenge for VR, where, for example, how do you move from point A to point B if you, let's say, use a joystick or a keyboard and walk, right? So it simulates walking, but your body isn't walking, but your view is walking. That can be very disorienting. So one very common strategy is they use teleportation, right? Because you move from point A to point B, it's instantaneous. Your body, the movement style tricks your body into thinking, yeah, it's normal for my body not to move, right? Because I'm teleporting. But there are little things you can add in as well. Like if you have tried VR for yourself, probably you see a lot of experiences have that fade in, fade out. It goes to black and it goes back to light as if you're blinking, and that really helps with a lot of the motion sickness or issues that you face when traveling around, things like that, basically. Yeah, but thankfully I think a lot of the issues have been resolved. But personally, I must say that I am pretty immune to this sort of motion sickness. I like the sea a lot. I don't feel seasick at all. So maybe that might be why I enjoy myself a lot in VR. But yeah, to my knowledge, I know some people get pretty nauseous pretty quickly in a VR landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the hardware, by the benefit of it, that it has advanced so much. I remember a few years ago when I went to one of the conferences, one of the mobile phone manufacturers, actually, they were trying to showcase their hardware, and they put us on a bicycle with their mobile headset, and the VR experiences, while I'm using it, it's fine, but I think 5 minutes into it, I started getting nauseous. When I took it off, got off the bike, I was like, oh my gosh, it was exactly that seasick feeling. But those little strategies that you mentioned, our students use that as well. So the blinking part and the teleportation, it definitely helps. So I think all of these, it comes with experience, and people who actually build apps, if they go, again, a small pitch here, if they go for courses like specialist diplomas in immersive simulation, or if they go for courses, I think Unity itself, you guys have, I see that you have a lot of training materials there as well. It will mention things like this, things to watch out for, technicalities or usability issues, things for them to look out for. Correct. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're coming to round off the session. All right. We're still open for questions if folks have any. Ife and Iran, if you have any other last messages you would like to share with our audience, please feel free.
Actually, you mentioned trainings, right? So one of the things that our team is doing is we are doing a webinar every week. So every week we're doing a webinar that is 60 to 90 minutes long, and we present on different topics. For example, like how to use 2D to build a game, for example, or how to use how to do lighting in Unity, or if you're interested in the industrials, how some of our products work, for example, Reflect and Visual Live, how is that relevant to AEC? So all these webinars we run every week, different topics every week. So if you're interested to find out more, subscribe to our Facebook, the ANZ SEA Unity Facebook page, and we can send you update you on the upcoming webinars.
Okay. Yeah. So if you can drop in the link there in the chat, our audience can take a look as well. I've dropped in a link to our specialist dip. Oh, we have one question coming in. Let us take this. So, okay, let me see if I get this right. It's asking, do you utilize Unity's Hdrp in development a lot?
So for myself, yes, especially if we're doing demos or projects that requires high fidelity graphics. So say, for example, if you want to visualize an architecture design and you need very realistic lighting, then yeah, usually I would go for Hdrp. But it really depends on the use case here. So if it's more about optimization, then I would use URP. So it really depends. But for myself, I do use a lot of Hdrp.
Okay. Thanks, Ife. That was a very technical question. Okay. Earlier on, I think we were talking about careers as well, right? So if you guys have the link, you could share with our audience as well. Could they go through the Facebook link there and look for a link to their career site, or it's on the main
I don't think we link
Unity
it.
page?
I don't think we link it in the Facebook page, but from time to time we may post openings on our Facebook page, but it's still better to check out the careers page because that's the most updated, and you can find all sorts of opening positions, not just the Singapore office, but other offices as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I shared the career thing for Singapore Insight. Yeah, I think just like Ife mentioned, right? So maybe as I guess a quick, a bit late, right, if you think about it, but a quick introduction as to how Unity is structured as well. So various offices have their various specialties, I guess, in a way. So for example, the Singapore team, the R&D team at least focuses on 2D development. But we have different offices around the world that focus on different things. So for example, the AI and ML team is located in SF. To my knowledge, there's a fairly big lighting and cinematics team in France, for example. Yeah, so depending really on your sort of capabilities, what sort of role you're looking for. Maybe if it's technical in nature, then yeah, probably depending on where your location is, there might be relevant opportunities there, especially if relocation is on your mind. Aside from that, there are similarly roles, right, open that are program managers, for example, which may not necessarily have to be in country. So in that sense, yeah, you might possibly be able to locate or interview for positions outside of Singapore. Yeah, but if you're just looking for Singapore-based positions for Singapore-based roles, I guess they will probably be more relevant to roles that need you to be in the region, which often would be things like sales, marketing, HR, etc. Because you'll be servicing people in the local time zone. Yeah, it makes sense to have a physical presence here. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Iran. Yeah, so as Iran mentioned, he's put in the link in the chat, all right, for careers in Unity. Okay, our secretariat, Li-Ling also mentioned she'll include all these in the thank you note. So after this session, all right, this session will be recorded, and after the session, those who attended will get an email with all these links included. All right, okay, we'll round things off. I think we are coming to the end of our session. I would like to thank both Ife and Iran taking time out from your midweek to come and share with us, all right, your insights to Unity. Before everybody leaves, okay, we are sharing a link for our feedback, all right. Your feedback for this session is very valuable. You'll let us know how we can improve it further, okay. And the link is actually on the chat as well. So please click on that before you leave and complete the survey. Okay, if there are no other questions, I think that's all we have for today. Thanks, Ife and Iran.
Thanks, Alvin.
If there's anything, just feel free to drop us a message on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. Yeah, generally speaking, we are quite open to responding. So yeah.
Oh, we have one last question. Hong Zhe asked about nav mesh stopping distance. What does that do?
So this stopping distance is just so what's the minimum distance before you consider your nav mesh agent reach your destination? So say for example, you want your nav mesh agent reach this particular point A. So what's the minimum distance it should be before it considers it has reached the destination? Is it exactly on point, or is that like a buffer, like 0.5 meters range, where if as long as you're within that range, this stopping distance, then it's considered that you've reached the destination. So sometimes this is necessary because you may not be able to exactly land on that point exactly. So you may see your character jitters as it tries to reach that point. So setting a stopping distance helps with removing that jitter.
So kind of like a bounding box for the nav mesh.
Yeah, kind of like the buffer, so that you have some wiggle room, so you don't have to go exactly at that point.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Hong Zhe followed that up with another question. So how do I get it not to stop at the same location?
Not stop at the same location. I don't understand. I don't understand. What do you mean by stopping at the same location?
We do have your emails, so if you're okay with that, we can answer that offline. All right.
Yep, sure.
So okay, thanks Ife and Iran. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll conclude the session. All right. Remember to complete the form. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.